Welcome, everyone, to the Fantasy Six Pack Golf Show. I am Keith Flemming. This is Two Off the Tee, which, if you watched last year, we had the great Alan Sandledge, who he just got too big for me. Now he's at ESPN Richmond. He said, Keith, I'll see you later. So I'm bringing in Ryan Mulvey this year, host of ESPN Inside Drive down in Northwest Florida. Ryan, just real quickly, kind of tell people, I know you got a long background in golf and just all the ways that you love and know this game.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've already mispronounced Alan's last name. It's Sandage, not Sandledge.
I don't care about Alan.
Well,
man,
that's
Alan,
fine.
so.
That's fair. But yeah, like you said, I've literally been in the golf business my entire life. Started as most people did, as a cart guy at a small private club in Mendham, New Jersey, and kind of worked my way all the way up into managing different facilities. At most recently, Bay Point Golf Club down here in Panama City Beach, Florida, and then of course had the opportunity to pivot that into a local radio show, like you said, on ESPN Northwest Florida. It's called the Inside Drive. We're live from 11 to 1 Monday through Friday. It also does stream on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. All you got to do is search up ESPN Northwest Florida. So it's a fun show. My co-host really doesn't know a lot about sports. We got a lot of great guests, a lot of great local coaches. I have great coaches coming in all the time.
Don't be hating on Jay. Jay's
I'm
a
not
legend.
hating on him. My show would not be my show without Jay. So I'm actually very appreciative that he's still willing to do it with me. We're almost 2 years into it, which is pretty hard to believe. But excited to be doing Two Off the Tee. Obviously, some massive shoes to fill there with Mr. Alan Sandage, figuratively and literally.
I was going to say.
But excited to be on with you guys today. So appreciate the opportunity.
Man, we're so excited to have you here. He's downplaying his show. It's incredible. You should check it out. 11 to 1 Central Time, right, Ryan?
Yep,
I got that
Central
right,
time,
right?
yeah.
And
12 to 2 your time.
I mean, the kind of ideas that they've had recently is Jay to get his dog neutered on the show, and they were going to
not on the show. We called to make the appointment.
No, I know what you're saying. Yeah. I'm sorry, I should have clarified
that.
There wasn't a vet.
We're not quite there yet. Maybe sometime soon.
Like Mike and Mike when they milked the cow. I'll never forget that being one of the bets that they had to pay off. But I'm excited to have you here this year, man. It feels like this golf show has started. Also, just want to really quickly thank Kelly Singh for, filling in the last couple of weeks while, Ryan was dealing with some medical stuff. She's the best, and we're just excited about this. Going to try to grow this golf platform for Fantasy Six Pack. And what better way to do that to bring in one of the better people in the golf gambling and entertainment space. And it is, oh my God, here we go. Big moment for Keith. It's Byron Lindeque. Did I get it right?
Let's go. Well done, Keith.
Breeze now, man.
First outro of the show taken down already on a Tuesday night.
I can't believe I got it right. The pressure was immense. I do want to real quickly say what's up to Jamie, Ronnie, even the boss man's in the chat. Man, things are going on. This is what happens when you have Byron in the house. You see, it just gets the eyeballs going. Byron, how did you kind of get into doing all this? Because I know a lot of people, obviously, that if you're listening to this, you love golf. How did you get into covering content on it and just kind of doing what you do, which is a great job of, picking winners and helping people out with information for golf tournaments?
Yeah, my story is kind of a weird one because I landed up, as you can tell by my accent, came from South Africa. 2011, William Penn. I'm actually rocking the alma mater shirt.
Yes.
So in Southeast Iowa, William Penn, little NAIA division, school there for a golf scholarship. I went there for 6 years, got 3.5 degrees, met my fiance, I met my wife.
Wait a minute, did you really get 3.5 degrees?
Yeah, I have a master's in business leadership, accounting, finance, and economics. So there's like one of them is a half a. So that's how I'm the model maniac, is because I'm an accountant by day, and then the spreadsheets on my shit, so I can just rock and roll with that. And I don't know why I'm an accountant, because that's not what I'm supposed to be doing. So a nice way to kind of because I love the numbers side of things still, but putting that into play in the golf betting space it's like a perfect cross for me, because I'm obviously quite clued up on the golf side of things and the numbers. So just blending them together has been a perfect storm for me so far.
man, like there's nothing better for nerding out, on golf stats because it's something that's tangible. And, it reminds me so much of poker. I tell people this all the time that in poker, obviously, you're not going to be able to win all the time. And you can't guarantee you're going to win because there's luck and other factors involved. But if you really follow the data that's out there and the trends, you can absolutely get an advantage. Now, does it work? Yeah, but we do that work for you. So just like come listen to the show and then you can just watch the tournaments and have a good time. But it's amazing stuff. I really do appreciate you being here. I love seeing this. Jamie's like, you know what? I don't even like golf, but I'm going to listen because he loves Fantasy Six Pack. And he did get a hole-in-one once at a par 3. I think it was 08 PlayStation. You got me there, Jamie. You guys all got hole-in-ones?
I've got 3.
Oh, I've got 2.
I've got 2. So look at you big dicking it here, Byron. Ooh.
Hey, I mean, 7 on a show is probably the most hole-in-ones I've ever probably had on a show before.
It's the most ridiculous thing in the world. I tried to explain this to my wife when we first got together. That's like, no. I want you to really, truly think about this. We're taking a little white golf ball this big, and we're going to stick it down on a tee and go 4 lengths of the football, and I'm going to try to get it in 3 to 4 shots. And if I don't, that's bad. And it's like, people are crazy that play golf. This stuff is really hard. And there's nothing better.
A bottle of scotch, so that
right?
Say everything that you need to know about this silly game that we talk about all the time.
Exactly, and it's definitely something that it's just really hard. I love seeing beginners because so many people go out there and they're like, "Oh yeah, I got this. This is easy. I'm an athlete." And I'm like, "Yeah, okay, have fun, buddy. Ball's not moving. Good luck hitting it."
Yeah, it humbles them and it humbles us. Randomly, like Charlie Hoffman just standing up on that par 3, hitting a hosel rocket out of bounds. When you're just trying to not hit it in the water and you don't, and then you still hit it into some guy's yard.
They should have let him somehow get over there into that guy's backyard and hit it off it looked like it was either Centipede or St. Augustine grass. But
it's a good lie.
Someone posted like, we need the flower bed ferry that they have at the Players when that one guy shanked one onto that mini island where the tree is just all on its own. That would have been epic as well.
Oh man. God, I'm sorry. Well, we're talking about that. I just always think of Rory McIlroy. What was it, 2010, when he hit that drive so far left at Augusta that like the TV production crew didn't even know like where, like they couldn't fathom that a ball was that far left because they've been playing the Masters, for forever, and nobody hit over there. But Rory did. So hopefully he wins that event one day because he had a great chance that year, and obviously that didn't work out too well.
He played pretty good after that, though.
He's okay. He's not too bad. I know that, guys, we're getting near spring and my favorite time of year. Augusta's right around the corner because I'm starting to get some allergies. You can pick up the Reese PC eggs at your local CVS, which, oh my God, I could eat about 20 of those. And that's a good news, especially because we're getting into one of my favorite events, which is Arnold Palmer's, the Bay Hill Invitational. I know people have been kind of disappointed with the way that PGA Nationals played out the last 2 years, right? And I'm one of them too. I like for these guys to have to grind and, like kind of be humbled, as Byron was saying, I think is a great word because I was a pretty good golfer at one time and I never was somebody hit it really far. Like that's how I had to win, right? It was like just the right day, difficult conditions, because I was never going to beat 2/3 of the field in like talent, how far they're hitting the ball, etc. This week, it's back. Like I know PGA National again has been kind of a bummer the last 2 years. A lot of it's changing. I think that 10th hole from a par 4 to a par 5, but man, Bay Hill is just a mofo. One of the hardest courses on tour we can just go ahead and say on tour on the planet. The rough is just always so thick and luscious. It's a course that has just enough risk reward where these players seemingly over and over again take risks that they probably shouldn't. And I think that's why the winning score has been, 12 under, I think, or lower in like 5 of the last 7. You've got par 3s that are all 199. to 230 yards. So I would be hitting probably a 5 wood
on those par threes too.
Right? Yeah, I'd hit a 5 wood on most of those 3 wood. Maybe. What would you be hitting, Ryan?
I've lost a lot. Probably. I played Bay Hill twice. Had the pleasure of once playing as a guest of Golf Channel, and then once just on a friend's trip. And some of those par threes I was hitting 3 irons into because they were so long. And,
I would hit driver into the wind, I guarantee.
And it's typically always windy there at Bay Hill as well. So
I saw the forecast. I don't know. How much do you look into that, Byron, each week? Are you somebody that you lean into the forecast? Do you really pay attention to that?
Yeah, I haven't really I've been like telling people my leans so far, who I'm kind of eyeing out. But, given the fact that they're going off in 2s, I think that's a big deal. And I think also just, Florida, it can change so quickly. And just waiting till tomorrow is going to be kind of my methodology there.
What percentage do you think, like, how important is that to you? Like, do you really try to find the advantage in the morning, wave compared to the afternoon wave, et cetera, or the early tee times or the later ones?
There's been tournaments where I've never even looked at the weather, if that answers your question. And then there's been times when they go to like Bermuda, then you are like hanging tight until like Wednesday
Open
night,
Championship, stuff like that.
Championship.
Yeah.
Just depends on where you go and how your read on the card is. I think sometimes if you're not feeling the best on the bets there, you can kind of, I'm just waiting on the weather a little bit, but these are the kind of guys I like. So that might be where I'm blaming the weather on my lack of urgency right now.
Oh man, I love it. Again, just a really difficult golf course. This is a course that let's look at some recent winter trends, because that's where I always like to start when I'm trying to build a certain type of player that's going to say win an event. And it starts with the fact that, actually, let me go humble brag real quick, because I love Tiger Woods so much. Scottie Scheffler last year became the 9th guy to win this event twice. No one other than Tiger has won it more than twice, and he's won it 8 times. Goats do goat things, people. That's just what happens. He's absolutely ridiculous. But some of these recent trends on the stats, if you look in the last 5 years, the winner has either been top 5 in green and regulation percentage or strokes gained approach for the week. If you look over the last 10 years, 7 of the guys have been top 10 in putting for the week. No surprise, again, on a really difficult golf course. All 10 of them were top 25 that week. So again, you've got to putt well. Scrambling has been a key indicator. And then it's one of those weird courses that you either have to drive it straight or you have to drive it really far. And there's no in between, because, with this kind of rough, obviously, if you can get to the wedges and stuff into your hands, you can handle this thick Bermuda rough. If you're trying to hit like a 7-iron or more, just forget about it.
Is it still Bermuda, or are they overseeding it still with rye?
I believe it's Bermuda, right, all the way through, unless I misread it this morning.
For some reason, I thought that they overseeded it, but I could be wrong.
Because it's one of the few Florida ones that, it looks like summer Florida rough year in and year out to me, where it's just gnarly and sticky.
Let me check that out real quick, because the one time I played it was shortly after the tournament.
Overseed.
Yeah,
it is rye overseed,
which is even crazier, because when I played it, the rough at the time, this was weeks after the tournament, was still a solid like 4 or 5 inches in some places. Now, if that was Bermuda that long, that would literally be impossible. But yeah, so
how are they getting at that to grow that thick, Ryan, this time of year?
Because it's cooler. Even down there it gets warmer, but it's still cool enough, because that ryegrass zone is, your soil temperatures between that, kind of 55 and 70 degrees. So, because TPC Sawgrass, once they moved up, they had to start overseeding, just because they had to be worried if there was a cold snap over there in the St. Augustine area, the Bermuda would be brutal. So they overseed everything now. But which obviously can make the rollout in your fairways a little bit tougher too.
So that makes more sense too, because again, the conditions have been extremely firm and fast. In recent years, especially again now the forecast, I did kind of look at it. They're calling potential rain Wednesday night, which that would be something if they do get significant rain Wednesday night, the guys that go out earlier are going to get a huge advantage because course will obviously be a little softer, and then they're talking about from what I saw, constant at least 12-mile-an-hour winds through the weekend,
Saturday
and up to 30 gusts, right?
We've got a line of storms coming through here in Panama City Beach early in the morning, which I believe is the storms that'll eventually make it over there to the peninsula of Florida. But I think I think these conditions this year are going to be the toughest we've seen in quite some time. So I'm a big fan of that, like you were talking about, Keith. I love to see these guys struggle and feel a little bit more human and relatable too. So I think Saturday especially is going to be a lot of fun.
And so there's 72 players, no cut. Do you want to take your shot, Byron, at Campos like you did on your show earlier?
71 of the best players on the PGA, and Rafael Campos playing this week.
He wrote some kind of letter, didn't he?
He's the Shakespeare of the PGA. You got to play to your strengths.
He can woo the people that he needs to woo to get into.
No wonder Spieth was so butthurt. I guess that Campos got in because he sounded a little bit like a bitch. Like I like Spieth, but to go, well, I guess that's what I get for not playing well enough injured. It's like, give me a break, man. Like.
And it kind of falls back to these whole signature events and, making these fields so small. Originally, I was kind of upset about it because it's not letting as many guys get opportunities. Well, now, you got guys like Spieth and Fowler who are not getting into these events, who are obviously big draws for not only TV, but also ticket purchase as well. And, and then you got a guy that apparently is, like you said, the Shakespearean of the PGA Tour, writing a nice little letter and getting in, which is pretty wild to hear. That's a first for me in professional golf. It's kind of like writing a teacher when you got a bad grade. Hey, is there anything I can do to kind of overturn this F to an A? And
so Ryan, are you saying my article that I'll turn in tonight for Fantasy Six Pack, it won't be as high quality as Campos' letter?
I don't know. I'll have to read both and get back to you on that.
I'm gonna go ahead and say that it's not. So just like a quick synopsis, right? I think we can agree on this. You want, again, a guy that either drives it straight or really far. That's the one exception I'll make, is if it's like an Oberg or somebody, even if he's missing fairways, I think he can still do damage on this golf course. Rory's another example, even though both those guys hit it straight. The iron play is so big for me. I really looked at, and I look more at greens and regulation percentage. This early in the season, I would rather have a guy that hits a lot of greens than necessarily is gaining a bunch of strokes on the field. And that's just my personal opinion. You can do it either way, but I just feel like that this early in the season, I would rather have a guy that in the last few weeks has hit a bunch of greens than is, by the statistics, and it's very complicated, is gaining strokes and strokes gained approach. Scrambling is huge to me. Like that's the almost the number one factor for me. Is everybody in my lineup is pretty good at scrambling. Everybody on my betting card. Putting, obviously, you need to putt well on Bermuda greens. And then I really did lean into course history. I know that it's kind of like last week. Yes, there's not guys. We just said only 9 guys have ever won this event multiple times, and 8 of them have only won it twice. But these guys do continue like over and over and over again to have good results here. And to me, like, let's not reinvent the wheel, right? Like, if I know a guy like Harris English or Nick Taylor is cheap on DK, and I'm getting pretty good odds for them, and they got this great track record here, and they're in good form, like, I'm not gonna fight it, like, just because maybe every metric doesn't line up for them. Like, that just doesn't make sense to me. Byron, kind of what were you looking for this week? What was your model, if you will?
Yeah, no, it's exactly what you were mentioning. I think you don't want to try and overthink it this week, because the reason the course history is so predictive is because the course demands such specific things from these people. So if you have that, you're crushing. If you don't, you're not. So you got to be very straight. You said straight. I think you have to be very straight. Like,
that's fair. Yeah.
So you can't be like anywhere in between. You just have to be very, very good at driving far or very straight. So the long irons as well, blah, 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 all that jazz. So I think it's just nothing too crazy, just kind of exactly what you mentioned there.
Brian, what are you looking at?
I mean, yeah, course knowledge here is so darn important. There's, obviously it's a long golf course. The green complexes are brutal, but angles on this golf course, I think, out of a lot of the different PGA Tour courses on the season, I think angles are even more important, and not just angles on your approach shots, but angles with your tee shots. There's a lot, there's a couple tee shots where you're hitting over roads, but you could really shorten this golf course if you know where to hit it. And you really got to take advantage of those par fives. That's where your scoring is really going to be a big thing, because the par threes, like you said, are so brutal. And the par fives are really gettable, especially down the stretch. 16 is like, if you're not making a birdie on 16, you might as well just triple bogey the hole, because everybody's taking it down the right side on 16 and having a short iron into the green even from the rough.
No, I think that's a great point. And similar to kind of like what we saw last week, with the field, especially at that first round again, everybody got so upset. It sounds like they thought the wind was going to blow. They ended up putting up some easy pins. They cut the rough. It didn't. You really look after that, the scores were not that crazy. They really weren't. Like, even for, an old school Honda, they weren't that bad. Any other things we want to highlight before we maybe mention some guys that we would consider, using for DFS lineups or betting cards?
No, I think just not to do with that, but like setting up a course too easy on round one. Once you've set it up too difficult, you cannot put the toothpaste back in the tube.
Yep.
But you can absolutely squeeze it out quickly in round two, so people need to chill in round one, because they're just trying to get a baseline of what the course is doing.
And also, these guys are really fucking good. That's the other thing I get so bad about. It's like Jake Knapp still went out. Like, if you go watch that round, he hit 12 drives that were 330 yards or further. And you're 6, 7 wedges inside of 7 feet. Like, these guys are really, really good. And it's funny how we just always jump to, the stupid PGA. And again, the PGA is stupid. Don't get me wrong. I've been screaming for Jay Moranhan to get out of here. But, anyway, it must be nice to be a millionaire and be an idiot. We'll just kind of make it a list of guys and kind of have the discussion. I'll go ahead and throw the whale out there. Yeah, sign me up for Scheffler. For DraftKings single entries, he'll be in every one of them. I'm not even blinking. This is one of those courses that his track record's too good. He has a lot of that Tiger in him that he plays the courses that he plays really well. And then if you weren't saying, okay, he plays the course he plays really well, let's go over what we need here. We need somebody who drives the ball straight. Check. Somebody who's really good with their irons. Check. Great scrambling around the greens. Check. If he gets hot with the putter, he might run away with this thing. I mean, that's kind of basically where it is.
Yeah.
Which he did last year. And his putting numbers, which, Ryan, what did I tell you, when we first started this season? That was my one big thing, is I think Scotty Scheffler is in for a monster year, because he putted so bad a majority of last year and was still dominant. It really, Tiger's my guy, but when you're putting up, strokes gained numbers and just all these things, and it was across the board, like Tiger was, basically minus the putter, which that's the difference in Tiger was he was also the best putter on tour, but it's scary.
Putters when they mattered.
And Rory, made one of the most baffling decisions of all time. It's like, oh, you're one of my biggest rivals. Here, you should try this putter while you can't throw it in the ocean. Like, I get, wanting to be buddies and stuff with people, but there's no way I'm doing that if I'm Rory McIlroy. And this is one of the few guys that can out ball strike me. You guys both okay with Scheffler? I mean, is that a cosign? I wouldn't bet him at plus 350.
Yeah,
I'm
the value is just not there. Yeah.
Live odds, right? Hope either maybe somebody gets off to a fast start, he gets off to a slow start, and then once he gets to 5-1 or more, I'm jumping on it. I don't care.
Yeah, no doubt. Do you guys think this is the tournament, kind of like last year, where he catches fire and really gets going and maybe starts a run like he did last year?
I think he definitely could.
It's really interesting because of the hand injury. I don't know how much of a ramp up period he needs. And that's my one angle for when we get to the next bunch of dudes, why I'm feeling slightly more confident than I should with Scotty Scheffler in the field. And Keith, little tidbit on Scotty Scheffler. He's gaining through round by round strokes gains, round 1, 2, and 4. He's sitting in that 2.8, 2.9. When it gets to round 3, it's 1.9. So it's less than 2. So if you're looking to probably get in on him, I know by then he'll probably be up on the leaderboard, but Saturdays he's 7th in the field in strokes gained, and he's on Saturday. So all the others, he's number 1, which is kind of crazy. And Scotty Scheffler only has 1 first-round lead since 2022.
Yeah, it's like Tiger. He's kind of a slow starter.
But he's got the best strokes gained average in round 1.
Well, it's because he's so good, right?
He's just so consistent. Yeah. It's just insane. Like I've never, like, I couldn't believe my eyes when I went and dug that up, because it's incredible how good he is. So yeah,
he's just showing off at this point.
Yeah,
and I just love that on Full Swing you realize this dude eat, breathes, and sleeps this stuff, and that's what it takes. Like, I think that's been the difference with Rory and Mickelson. A lot of these guys who had, I think, just as much talent as Tiger, but they didn't want to work like he did. And it's easy to get fat and happy. Hell, I can't tell you if I had $100 million and flying around a jet playing golf that I'm going to be grinding on the range to 9 p.m. at night. But from what I've seen, Scheffler ain't got a lot going on, so he's probably going back to the golf course to hit more range balls.
What's crazy too is a lot of times when somebody has a child in professional golf, you see a dip in their game. It's almost like him having a child made his golf game get better, which was pretty. And the Full Swing obviously kind of highlights that a little bit. But yeah, that's just absolutely nuts. That it's almost like now he's got more to play for or something like that, which is pretty cool and impressive to see.
Ryan, who's the first guy that you were like, yeah, I want some of them this week?
Ludwig Aubert. I actually think this is going to be a big season for him. Obviously, last year was, I don't want to say a disappointment, but maybe didn't live up to as much expectations as he and a lot of other people had. But his game is just so good for so many golf courses, especially difficult golf courses. And his demeanor and competitiveness is just so impressive. And, I really like him this week. I think he's 20, maybe 28 to 1 in DraftKings. He wasn't too bad. Price
he was 16 to 1 at DK. That's why I hate your Hard Rock casino bets.
Hey, I'm just happy.
They have casinos. Oh, it's awesome.
I'm just happy we have a legal sports book here in the great state of Florida.
They still get decent golf odds, Byron.
Yeah.
Where we get crap ones.
Yep. And the live odds are pretty decent as well. But yeah, I've got him actually, since I didn't go with Scheffler in my official lineup. I have him anchoring my my lineup. He's been playing well. He's trending in the right direction. He continues. He was a little sick for one of the tournaments, which he didn't have the best tournament, but other than that, he's been playing like a top 10 golfer in the world. That's for sure. And he's
a Swedish cyborg, Ryan. I mean,
I just love his golf swing. His golf swing is so fun to watch because it's so pure and just so the tempo is fantastic.
That sound.
Yeah.
That's what to me is always the difference in those guys like him and just a great ball striker is that sound when it comes to it. Just sounds so different.
Like snapping it.
Yeah, exactly. Byron, who's like somebody you're like, yeah, give me some of that.
Give me all of that, Rory McIlroy.
I love it.
I got a problem with the Rory thing now. I went after him at Torrey, and he had his 2 worst total rounds over the weekend of his career putting. This dude has been sensational for the last year. It's been really, really crazy. And the thing I really like most about Rory is I use these finishing position rates to kind of make my bets and things. And I thought I had an error because his top 5 rate and top 10 rate is both 55%.
Wow.
So you got to go back to 2023, the Open Championship, for the last time Rory finished inside the top 10 without top 5ing. He finished 6th.
Consistent golf right there.
Wow.
So when you on Rory and he plays well, he's going to give you it all. And when he doesn't, he's out. I compared him horrifically on my show to an avocado because you see the good you see the good stuff and you cut it open and you're expecting great things and then you just see it's brown. What? This is not what I bought. But sometimes you cut it open and it's turns into the best guacamole you've ever had.
That's
so
fantastic,
amazing.
I felt like I delivered that way better on this show than
I think you definitely did. Well, I mean, in fairness, think about what was going on.
Lots of extenuating circumstances.
Exactly.
Yeah. You had a bad avocado before.
I had a very bad avocado. I literally had avocado before the show, so that's the problem. That's what I was thinking about Rory for. But incredible out the rough. When you think about you're hitting out of the rough 50% of the time. Yeah, if you're a long driver of the golf ball, the more accurate guys will probably get to the 60s, maybe touch 70 if they elite. But Rory just hitting it so far down there and being so good out of the rough when he's going to be there with everybody else is incredible. And I'm just forgetting about those 2 bad rounds he had putting in at Torrey. He was putting fantastic before that, and he's been putting well leading up to this. So ignore the bad Avo. Let's go buy back a bunch more there.
Yep.
I want him so bad to win a major, like going down the stretch, because I've been saying this for like 5-6 years, that if he could win like Augusta or any major where he comes from behind and makes putts, I really believe Rory McIlroy will win like 4 to 6 majors in the next like 5 years, because he's lost all confidence.
Used to believe.
Remember the guy used to bop up and down the fairway? Like now it looks like he's trying to like bop up and down the fairway. Like it's just not there. And I was a Rory hater again, because I was a Tiger guy. So any guy coming up behind him, I was like, I don't like you. I don't like you. I don't like you. I really like Rory. Like I really do. Like it's hard not to like him. What he did for, the PGA Tour and everything, whether he should have, who knows. But I want him to get it going, because it's like that's all it's holding him back. He's going to have one of the greatest careers ever, and I worry he's going to be more in the vein of like Greg Norman. He had 2 majors. Rory's got 4, to where like, yeah, he's the best golfer in the world week in and week out, and he can win any tournament except for these 4 on a regular basis, because he should. He's so good.
No one cares about the 20 tournaments he's won since those majors, but it's like, well, whatever the amount is, it's just, he could have ended his career then and it would have been the same as it is now, unfortunately.
Greg Norman has so many wins. I think people don't realize that. Like, if you go look like worldwide, like Greg Norman was whooping everybody's ass for almost 15 years. He just unfortunately, only won the 2 Opens. He had obviously the heartbreak at several majors, which Rory's got his own track record of heartbreak, the US Open a couple of years ago, Augusta, like this long list. Let's get a little nuts, because the first guy I keep circling, and he doesn't fit the first bill of, he's never played this golf course before. But Ashley Biate, 70-1, 4-1 to top 10. I think he's an extreme value on DraftKings in a 72-player field. I think he's 8K or 7,800, something like 7,800. What do you want? Again, outside of the experience, which that's a big deal. I'm not denying that, but he fits the bill on almost every other metric that you're looking at. He's top 35 in greens and regulation, top 35 in strokes gained approach. He's 12th in strokes gained putting. He's 4th strokes gained approach, 24th in driver accuracy, 19th on approaches of 200 plus yards, so he can hit the long irons, 23rd in scrambling, 26 bogey avoidance. He's got 6 in par 3 scoring, 33rd in par 4. So he plays those well and just does decent on the par 5s. But the big thing for me is we've seen over and over again, he plays very well in the wind. Like he is not afraid at all of windy conditions. Obviously, I would be, more gung-ho about him if he had experience, because it's so tough. But I don't care. I actually think he's got the chops, and this is the kind of course that it's so difficult that he can ball strike it well enough to win it, that I would be happy, betting him at 70-1. I love the 4-1 top 10. That's going to be one of my heaviest bets this week, and he's going to be in a majority of my DK lineups. Am I nuts, guys?
I don't think so. I think this golf course sets up very well for his game. He kind of has a no fear kind of game. And if I recall correctly, is he a right to left ball flight kind of guy? So I think that also plays well into Bay Hill, especially trying to cut some of those corners and various things out there. So no, I don't think you're nuts at all. And I think he's one of those guys that's kind of sitting there. Obviously, I know he had the one PGA Tour win down there in Bermuda or whatever it was, where he got screwed out of getting into the Masters.
He did get screwed.
But I think he's just one of those guys that's kind of waiting in the wings to break out and have a big victory. And why not be the API?
Yeah, He was ball striking the absolute bejesus out of it at Torrey Pines and not making any putts, and he still finished 9th. So do you think Torrey Pines is a solid way, if you're looking for like guys that are ball striking it right now? It's basically the identical layout with less water, but from the proximity situations and the
distance,
just boom it out there, get it out the rough. I think you can definitely look at ball striking from Torrey in a big way. So, for instance, like Max Homer coming into a venue like this, who's played well here, has not played well at Torrey in 2 attempts this year already, missed the cut both times.
Yep.
So, I'm out. That's just easy to tell because of that particular trend. If he played well at Torrey, I'm in. But so.
He's 6,000 this week. It is crazy to see how far he's fallen, on DK and other places. And to your point, I'm not playing him. I haven't touched him in any lineups. He's $6K. He's the cheapest price.
I have an Aldrich Potgieter bet over him over Max Homer.
See, so talk about him real quickly because I'm curious. We said it right. Drive it far or drive it straight. Dude drives it farther than anybody.
And relatively straight. He hit a lot of fairways in Mexico. So. If you can get comfortable around here, ooh, baby, so I think that'll be fun. My big concern is chipping out the rough. When in Mexico, he was just looking at how he's chipping out of there, but he did not play the Cognizant. Brad Faxon wasn't happy about that. I hope he was sleeping at Ernie Els's house and chipping every day with Ernie because Ernie's working with him.
Or Retief. I'll hand over Retief.
Or Retief. And, either one just needs to get him. Just get the fundamentals down. He's uber talent. You cannot.
How big of a star is he there in South Africa now? What is his sort of? I mean, is he ascending or is already he a big thing there?
I've been here for 14 years. The guy's 20.
That's fair.
So he was 6.
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't been home for so long, but I would imagine. I mean, he's the same price as Bezzy this week. So
I can't believe he's 20. The first time somebody told me, hey, he's 20 years old, I went, that guy's 20?
Yeah.
And then I think back to Ernie Els. That was pretty much my same thought when Ernie first showed up on tour. And it's that dude's 24. So I like that. Give me just one, again, another guy, Byron, you like this week.
Other guys I like this week, Will Zalatoris, $8,600. If you think about a horse course, this is the dude. Didn't play the greatest at Torrey Pines, unfortunately, but I think that's going to have people getting off of him. He was not playing the reason he's inside the top 50 for the FedEx is because of his performance here last year. It's basically this tournament that got him into the top 50. The rest of the golf after that was not very good.
It's not good.
But, maybe he's come back a little bit better this year, a little more stocky. Great course fit there at $8,600. And then right next to him, I don't mind Daniel Berger here either, because Daniel, you're driving that thing far now. I think we haven't seen him hit it at the Waste Management, I think on 18.
Is he wearing Vans, though? That's the question.
You can wear whatever you want if you can hit a ropey draw 183 mile per hour ball speed.
That's very true.
At that, which we haven't seen from him.
No.
So he's healthy. He's wealthy now with the distance and swing speed there. So he's a really interesting case this week because he's a Florida guy, right? The Cognizant is his jam.
That's what I tell him on the greens. Bermuda Burger, man. He can get it done. Ryan, who's somebody else you're looking at?
Kind of a long shot guy that I'm looking at this week is Max Gracerman. I think obviously long shot to win, of course, but in DK he's at 7,100 and he's made every cut this year so far on tour and just striking the ball really well and kind of making a name for himself on the PGA Tour. So he's kind of in my long shot category that freed me up a little bit on the rest of my lineup, but and just a fun kid to watch play golf. So I'm kind of leaning towards him a little bit. Let me see what his top 10 is. I'm sure it's pretty.
He should be getting pretty good
500.
juice. Yeah, at least, right?
Because I've been betting him top 10 a lot. He finished T11 last week at plus 375. So
he's due this week then.
Yeah. He finishes top 10 a lot. So
have you guys seen the trio bets on DraftKings? This is something that's going to sucker me in. Where you get 3 players to win. And like the one that was interesting to me this week, you get Cantley, Hovland, and Ben Griffin at 13-1 to win. And so,
just have to run the numbers to just why don't you just bet them?
Well, that's fair too. You're probably right. And again, this is why I need somebody who has a degree like you do to be like, Keith, don't do that. That's a sucker bet. And I don't know because I'm a degenerate, you know. I'm just like, yeah, that sounds pretty good. 13.
I'll go run the numbers on it and I'll post it out there for us because people cannot be getting into that nonsense. You know, like golf betting is hard enough already.
I'm with
like
you.
Getting sucked into stuff like that is just going to suck you dry. So
I'm with you. It's like football parlays. It took me not very long to realize that you're not going to be making any money if that's what you're always doing. You still looking that up, Ryan? I'll go over a few more of my plays so that way we can get moving. For the on the DK side, I really like JT this week, 9,400.
Agreed.
I'll probably end up betting him, to be honest. Like his strokes gained approach and stuff is back. Like his numbers in all the categories that we used to see. Again, the putting is not great. I'll go ahead and tell you, but the ball striking numbers are just, I mean, he's like top 5 almost across the board, green regulation, strokes gained approach. I love Griffin this week, 7,600. He just continues to be a guy that does well, especially in difficult, venues. He's only 7,600, so I think that's a value. The two guys in the most of my lineups, though, Nick Taylor and Harris English. You can throw them in for, 13-3. Harris English, I think 21st or better in 4 of his last 5. The only one he didn't at this venue, he withdrew. And Nick Taylor also has a great track record here, plus is playing well. And Nick Taylor's got a lot of metrics that actually show he should do well here. Like he's really good in scrambling. He's putting well. He drives the ball straight. Good iron player from 175 and out. And then the other guy that, again, doesn't have a lot of experience here, but is very interesting to me is Robert McIntyre. He's 50-1 to win, 3-1 to top 10. This feels like, and sometimes like if you watch the Arnold Palmer Invitational on the right day and the right win, it feels almost like a Open Championship. I swear to God, like it really does. Like if you're just like looking at the water and not really paying attention to the bunkers and stuff. And McIntyre is absolutely going to win an Open Championship. I keep saying that. I've been saying it for a few years. Dude is a stud. And I just think he keeps getting more and more confidence. He's the guy I'm most excited about that is now over on the PGA Tour full-time mixing up with these guys because he's really good. And I love these stories too. Like we've always seen like the success Shane Lowry had, right? Being in the shadow of Rory McIlroy. Well, I actually think McIntyre's got even more game. And he's another guy that, kind of grew up in the shadow of both of them. So I really like.
He's won one more tournament than Shane on PGA
Has he really
Tour.
Already? Is that true?
I think Shane's only got the Bridgestone. And Bobby's got the Canadian and the Genesis.
You're right.
Stone.
You're right. Yeah. So he's already, yeah, exactly. It's just.
Well, I guess Shane won the Open. So I'm lying, but you know what I'm saying.
You get both of them though for that. So I'm like, is that really a win? Did you ever figure out Grayson? What was his top 10 odds, Ryan?
He said it before. I think he was plus 500.
Okay. And then the only other bets I just want to mention real quick. I love Dietrich plus 550 to top 10. Again, another guy that really good long iron player, scrambles well. I feel like that's actually good odds. And that's what I've been leaning into on DraftKings most week for the betting is like, unless I feel really good about the guys winning, and I think Scheffler's probably going to win this event. So I'm going to take some shots with like the, maybe a McIntyre again, the Nick Taylor at 120, the Beate at 70. But overall, I'm going to look at these prop bets like Dietrich plus 550, top 10, Thigala is plus 1,200 top 5, plus 500 top 10. We know how well he does in these difficult golf courses. So I think there's real value there. And you get Russell Bustle at plus 650 to top 5. And we know Russell Henley Go Dogs. This is what he does. Like he plays these tough courses well. He's got a great track record at this event. And I really like this if the wind blows, like what they're talking about. If we get into like that 20, 30 mile an hour winds where you really got to do a lot of scrambling, that is where Russell thrives. He's a bulldog on and off the course. No pun intended. Ryan, you got any more guys you want to go through?
Not really. You pretty much covered. I was Ben Griffin was a guy I've been kind of looking at pretty strong for this tournament as well. I did want to mention one thing too on the betting side of this tournament. I really think there's a significant advantage on whether you start and it's just a single tee start for these signature events, right? So my point might not even be an actual point. Yeah. When this actually used to be a full field event, starting on 1 versus starting on 10 was a whole different ball game given the stretch of holes that you had to start out with. Starting on 1, a tough little dog leg right off the get-go that was long, followed by a brutal par 3 versus if you started on 10, you kind of got eased into it a little bit with a couple par fours that were a little manageable. But that's right, it's a signature event, so there's only 71, 72 people in the field.
72 guys, yeah.
So they're all going.
71 and Campos.
Yeah,
that's right. That's right. Mr.
Campos is the only guy that's plus money for a top 40 this week.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
What is his odds? Like plus 200 or something?
It's like plus 140, I think. So it's not bad. Like
I was gonna say that's like flip a coin, not too bad for a 72 player field.
But this ain't no riding class. I have two 7,300 Aaron Rye. If you're looking for someone elite driving accuracy, fourth in the field, incredibly good out the rough with the long irons. He's a blue collar son of a gun, Aaron Rye. I love him there. Played nicely at the Cog. Showed up a little bit at the Genesis as well. Brian Harmon played nicely as well. 6,800. He doesn't have the distance. So these are two guys that could fly under the radar and will literally fly under everybody else's golf balls, So I think they two guys you can definitely kind of sneak in there if you're looking for a little bit of a leverage option over there. And then from a betting side of things, Minwoo Lee. If you can find a top 30 market on this dude, 18 of his last 25 starts worldwide have been top 30s. He's only got one top 10 on the PGA Tour since this tournament last year. The second at the Rocket Mortgage, but he's got a slew of top 30s.
What do you think his ceiling is? Because I keep going back and forth. Like I think there's real like uber talent there.
He's gonna have to figure his irons out because you cannot be that like irons.
That's the point. Yeah.
Like at more difficult venues where everyone's chipping and putting, maybe he can show up, especially with his length. We've seen that at Oak Hill and things like that. But you're just not giving yourself enough birdie looks to get it done with irons like that.
That's a good point. I'm sorry, I interrupted you. Who else you got, Pro? Anybody else?
That's it for me. Chatted about a couple guys up top already. Berger. I think Berger's going to be fun to watch.
I do like Berger.
Big drives this
I'm going to put him in some DK lineups for sure. Do you guys? We barely touched on JT. Do you guys like JT this week? I mean, I know I said something about
He's in my lineup for DraftKings. And this was going to be kind of an off-the-wall question for you guys. I was going to ask you, do you think JT playing in this TGL has actually benefited his golf game? He seems to have gotten a little bit of his swagger back, for lack of a better term, in my opinion anyway, because he's been playing much better golf this year, obviously, but he only really had one way to go up from last year, and that was get better. So, but, he's been kind of entertaining, and he's got some cockiness and some swag playing in that TGL, and I know that's not quote-unquote real golf, but sometimes, when you're lacking confidence, something like that may help kind of flip that switch back in the right direction. But I think he's a good pick for this week as well. Obviously, he's played the Bay Hill multiple times. There's the good Nico, not the Dallas Mavericks GM Nico.
Oh, this is the best Nico, man.
That's Justin Thomas over there. I mean, nice to look at on the stat side of things, but when it comes to just biting down on that bone, the bite's not there on Sundays for JT. He's lost that with Spieth, Ricky, JT, and Kaufman now sitting in the booth. Those boys just don't have it. They've lost that like killer instinct.
Bubba's on the live tour, right? Like it is true that
I don't even know if he's playing live golf
anymore.
That whole group of,
basically, which is kind of crazy.
Oh my God,
I think you're right. Like
cute.
I may end up spending. Oh, this is Nico. This is Nicodemus. For those that I think have probably been following me on Fantasy Six Pack for a while, you've seen him on episodes. He's a great dog, other than he likes to go R. Kelly at times and pee on stuff in the house. He can't help it. Right? You got a small bladder. You can't help it, buddy. Before we get out of here, we're going to try something new this year that I think is going to be a lot of fun. We're going to start a list where each week we add one item of just something that really annoys you that people do when you're playing golf with them. And the three of us, since this is the inaugural one, let's come up with a really good one. Let's all kind of like nominate something, and then we can figure out which is going to be the official first thing we're putting on this list.
I mean, my first thought, of course, goes to people not filling their divots with the sand or the mix provided on golf carts. I mean, as being a golf course operator forever, and knowing how important that is to your turf health, that absolutely drives me crazy. I mean, I've got tons of things that could.
Oh no, Ryan, that's what I'm saying. That's why we're doing this.
Yep.
I'm sure you know it's like Peter Griffin. What grinds my gears? We got plenty of material in the chamber,
no doubt. I mean,
but
that's
I do
a real
want to come
easy
up with a good
one,
list.
Yeah, that's a real easy one. Not maybe unique and out of the box, but certainly one that that people need to do a better job of. That's for sure. And if you're and have the pleasure of playing at cool season grass golf courses where you can actually replace your divot, that kind of falls along in the same breath there.
Yeah, especially when I know you assholes don't find a lot of fairways anyway, so fix your divots when you do. You know,
and fix another one besides just yours. It goes a long way to keeping that, especially if you're at a member course. Like you're not helping out your own
all golf courses. I argue. I push back, Ryan.
Yes.
Any golf course.
Yeah,
like I don't care what the scenario is. Be nice. Like other people got to play after you.
Yep.
You know, it's just like raking bunkers and shit. Like, don't leave the golf course trashy. It's bullshit.
Divots, all that good stuff. Leave it better than you found it. Just like you should do anywhere you go.
Amen to that. Byron, what you got? Because we'll kind of vote on the first one.
My buddy that used to be part of our 4-ball back home.
Keyword they're used to. We got the boot.
Yeah. He would always, whenever we can see the next, like the 4-ball ahead of us coming down the second fairway or whatever, you know, the next fairway, they are like a hole and a half ahead of us. We're just trying to like get going just to like catch up a little bit. He will be teeing his ball up and then decide to start telling us a story. You know, like you start telling the stories when you've hit your shots and then you stop when the guy hits his, then you carry on. No, Shane wanted to always tell us some story while his ball was teed up. And we just like, none of us wanted to listen, no matter how good the goddamn story was, because we just wanting to go, you know, like we just wanted like get the, and he just didn't ever feel the need for speed, you know? So just guys that don't understand pace of play or particularly just the like, just telling us a massive long story while his ball's pegged up on the ground is just not okay for me.
Byron, this is going to absolutely be the first one because it's the same vote. First of all, Ryan, do you think Byron could play with my dad, who is the person usually holding you up and telling the story? Now, he's 70-something, so as he's getting older, I'm giving him more leeway, but at the same time,
but I feel like the older you are, the more wiser you should be.
Come on, hit the ball.
Yeah. I mean, you got
he knows. He just doesn't give a shit. He's
like,
it's almost like he's got his Budweisers in the bottle. And the black, which is what he calls his cooler. He's good.
Not cans. Not cans. That's
exactly.
For sure.
No, he does not drink cans. That's bullshit.
I know.
I was going to say, why don't we call it this? Because I think it's being just absolutely unaware of your surroundings on a golf course, like never being ready. And you gave a great example. Another one is I have a buddy who smokes cigarettes. And I don't care. Like, smoke away, bro. Like, you can smoke a joint with me. I don't care. I'll smoke it with you. But if you're going to be like lighting up a cigarette when it's literally your turn and you're just standing there and it's like, bro, it's your go. Like, what are you doing? Or I hate how people will ride together in the carts. Because this all falls into this category to me. And instead of walking over, right? Like, we all have rangefinders now. Walk the 10 yards over to the right and get your number. So that way, when the dude's gone, he comes over, you grab your club and you hit. No, you're going to sit in the cart, watch them hit, put their club back in, and then ride. It's just being literally oblivious. That's the word I want to use. Oblivious to your surroundings.
Yep.
And it's causing basically you to play slow.
Start your process. Yeah, that's good. I like that. The double O. Yeah, it's being proactive when it comes. Like, don't start your routine after the other person's finished. You can start the majority of your routine before a golf shot while somebody else is playing, and you won't disrupt them. But yeah, no. So just pace of play, oblivious obnoxiousness is a good start to your list. Keith.
It's an amazing start, and it is something that seriously, if you're listening to this and you're wondering, is it me that's holding people? It probably is.
Yep.
Like seriously, like
you're wondering if it's you, it's
in the moment on the golf
Yep.
course. Like you have to. Like the time to bullshit is while you're riding from the tee to the fairway or from the green to the tee box. Outside of that, pay attention. If you were playing basketball, right, you wouldn't be out there dicking around on your phone because you get hit in the face with a chest pass or something.
Yeah.
And yet on the golf course, I'm like, dude, what are you doing? It's your turn. Get out of the damn cart. So anyway, we're going to end it there, but we're going to start a list and it's going to be a lot of fun. Before we get it, first of all, Byron, you are the freaking man. I am serious. I've been a big fan of your work for years, and it's a big moment for your boy to A, get you to come on the show, and B, that I pronounced your last name right. So, you want to talk about a big day for the Flemming? I'm going to go tell my wife. Maybe I'll get some tonight. Who knows? We'll see.
Hey, you're looking to check that third box, tell the wife. I think that's, you check the two, and you might just give a shot when you're hot, baby.
Yeah, just don't be saying his name while y'all are getting that going.
She might like it. Hey. You never know. Man,
if you say it like me, it might help.
Right?
To each
Byron, but you got anything you want to plug, buddy, before you get out here? Please plug away.
Yeah, just my Patreon, The Model Maniac. That's where you can find all my models. I've got a Discord. I've got all sorts of tools, all my bets in there. It's just everything me is over there. And then you can find me on Twitter or X at The Model Maniac.
Dude told you he's got 3 degrees in 6 years. So obviously he's pretty freaking smart. I mean, I didn't know that. That's pretty amazing. Ryan, do you want to say anything about Jay, or what do you want to plug on the way out?
I don't really want to say anything about Jay. He's left me hanging so far this week. Hopefully he gets back in the saddle soon. But check us out, ESPN Northwest Florida, The Inside Drive, Monday through Friday from 11 to 1 Central Time. It's on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. We also have a free mobile app that you can download. All you got to do is search up 104.3, and it'll pop up right there for you. We have a lot of fun. Obviously, it's a golf-centric show, but we talk all sports, football, hockey, NBA, college basketball, and I've got a lot of great relationships with good college golf coaches that we have on the show.
Yeah, what's her name? Won the ladies Masters.
Yeah, Lottie Woad. She's still ranked number 1 in the world in the women's side. And that's what's crazy about Florida State. And kudos to Luke Clanton on earning his PGA Tour card in such an amazing way. But Florida State has the number 1 ranked amateur in the world on the men's side, and the number 1 and number 3 ranked amateurs in the world on the women's side. So that program is thriving right now. That's of course. And then my boy Jackson Koivu from Auburn is playing in this in the Bay Hill tournament, or the Arnold Palmer Invitational this week as well.
Is he playing?
Yeah, I saw him on there. I don't know what any of his numbers, his odds, or any of that are.
I'm putting him in a DK lineup is what I mean.
Price.
That kid is a stud.
Yeah, no doubt.
Ryan, I'm serious pumped that you're back feeling better, and that, I'm excited about doing this for y'all that have been with us for the last 3 or been with me the last 3 years. It's football from August to January, and then we hit the ground running in golf. I know it got started a little bit late this year, but me and Ryan will be with you through all the majors. And, we don't have the Olympics this year. We got the President's Cup this year, or is it Ryder Cup?
No, President's Cup was last year. Ryder Cup at Bethpage Black.
Oh, that's right, because Keegan's talking shit. I don't like the way that's going to end out at all. I think it's going to be a bad time for us.
We get our asses kicked. So.
No, you need to keep your head down. This is what's wrong with us. We do a lot of talking. We need to do some winning.
This is going to be the year, though. That New York fan base is going to be rowdy, and it's going to be a Ryder Cup. I may have to try to find a way to use my PGA membership credentials to go up there and watch some Ryder Cup, because I think this is going to be one of the better Ryder Cups that we've seen in a long time. So
if you get that, you need to get Jay to go up there with you too, and y'all should do like radio stuff up there. Yeah. It would be amazing. I'm serious. It'd be great. But again, I can't thank Byron enough. Ryan, please be sure to check out all the amazing stuff on fantasy6pack.net. Once again, like Joe Bond and all those guys won a bunch of ranking awards because that's what they do. They got way too much time on it, and they're way too smart because otherwise they wouldn't keep getting these top 5 awards. I mean, that's just a fact. But there's, golf. We got NASCAR on there, NBA, NFL, like baseball.
Starting up right now, and
everything, man. They've got it. It's good stuff. Join the Discord. But for Keith, Ryan, and Byron, we will see you guys soon. Take care.
All right.